Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. I'm from the panel. What I was given the topic of was change and how do we affect change at a global level. So that's what I'm going to discuss in the next 15 minutes. And I'm going to start though from my personal journey of where we as an organization at Portfolio School are at and how that all came about. As Sarah mentioned, I'm a technologist. That's what my background is, my training is, and my work as well. I've worked quite a number of years in Silicon Valley and in New York side as well, East Coast side, technology scene. But my last company that I co-founded was No Incorporated. This was back in 2008, where we were set out to make engagement with content for students a lot more interesting. And that was the time where it sort of started to click to me, like, how are kids learning? What does learning and education and schooling means in today's day and age? I have a 4-year-old daughter, so it's something that I think about these days a lot. It's something alive in front of me, reminding me to think about this. And then it took me back into certain times in my life where this notion of what learning is and what education means had been there, not just through this company that I'd started, but otherwise also. As a grad student at Stanford, I used to be teaching a lot of classes, and I found that undergrads were mainly there to get a check mark on their transcript that they've taken this course, they want to move on. If you really try to sit down and have a career conversation with them, it's mainly a couple of different things that they want to do, and they're not even sure what that means to them. So it's you're in one of the top universities in the world, and I saw folks who are students who really don't know what they want to do in their lives. Fast forward to my career at Intel, also when I was heading up the education division, I found that I had 100 engineers reporting to me in 4 different geographical areas. There was a team in China, there was a team in India, there was a team in Europe, and a team in California. And they were all good engineers, hardware engineers, software engineers, doing, they had the credentials, But only some of them had sort of the wherewithal to work in a team environment, to actually be coming up with new ideas, thinking outside the box, and those were the folks who I knew were going to do really well in their career at a company like Intel. And I started thinking about this, that most of the kids at Stanford are not thinking about their careers. Some of them have this natural ability outside of what our schools are teaching them. And there is no reason why we can't do that in schools and really help kids develop not only just the content knowledge, but really have them understand their whole self. So that's sort of like, the top universities, the top schools, and all that is good. And through my work with technology and education, I was able to meet a lot of thought leaders in education. And I realized this is not just a elite school problem, but there's a big question about what quality education means and what quality education means for everyone. For low-cost private schools, for free schools, for lower socioeconomic areas, to the elite schools, And that's why when I came out of Intel education, I felt like I felt it was important to look at education as a whole. That means that technologists shouldn't be looking at just the technology side of education. There's amazing innovative work that teachers are doing, but just only in their classrooms. Administrators are doing just at that school level and not beyond. But we should create an organization which should have a full-on, full-stack kind of holistic picture of education and how we can make effective changes for our future generations. So that's what we started Portfolio School with. And we do have a global vision. We don't think, it's a private school right now in New York City, but from there, all the learnings that we get out of what we are doing over there, we are very research-based. So a lot of research that's happened at Stanford, at MIT, about how people learn and how to effectively transfer that research into schools is how we are implementing it. But our goal, our aim really is to take our learnings and then permeate it through the globe. Bring it to Pakistan, bring it to China, bring it to countries like Mexico, Argentina, other Asian countries, because we feel that this is the right time for a global change in education. Now, just make a few points. I've been indicated I have 2 more minutes. So a couple of things around what does it mean to be thinking about change in a global manner, right? It's a big thing, and you cannot start global ever, because if you start global ever, it becomes very hard to actually do anything, right? Because the challenge is too hard. So always think local and then aim global, and that's how we started. And we said, okay, we will implement these ideas in a private school in New York. And as we learn and as we make it work, that's when we'll start partnering with other schools, figuring out how to bring it to lower socioeconomic areas, one by one. And it's been amazing. This particular, the school venture has only been 3 years old. It's amazing the number of people who come and talk to us about how they can bring the same innovative school environment into their schools as well. So you have to start local and then go global. The other thing is that it is really, it's something that you realize is so big that you cannot do it alone. There's certainly the Silicon Valley culture of one person or one team making a global change. When it comes to things like education, that's not the case. It's to create a real change in education has to be a movement, right? A movement where nonprofits are associated with it, think tanks are associated with it, teaching colleges from Stanford, MIT, or from Lahore, or from Karachi, they are associated with it. What we have to do is figure out how to work together to make it happen. And that's, to me, is the next thing that is to find the partnerships to make this a global change. So with only probably 30 seconds left, I just want to say that, in this room there's a lot of teachers, there's a lot of students. I'm sure there are a lot of school administrators and people who think about education are sitting here. If you believe in this change in education, innovation in education, come talk. I would love to hear your thoughts as well. Thank you.